Hello again. This is John Burrows, and I'm going to be doing podcast number 16. It's called Corona, the Unsung Heroes. Um, I'd like to start out by saying that um, this in no way diminishes from the heroes we already know about. Those first responders, the firemen, the policemen, the National Guard, especially those people in the hospitals that are working with sick patients every day, trying to stop the spread of this disease with barely the bare necessities, and it looks like they might not get enough equipment. Those people are true heroes, and we know about them, and we appreciate them. And in the end, when it's all over, I would hope there was some type of medal of honor for the entire group of what is considered um, first responders. Uh, what I'm going to talk about now is those unsung heroes that go about being very, very creative in their job, and they save people's lives in a different way, because technically they're not actually on the front lines. And I'm just going to give you one example, try and make this a short podcast. My wife came home from traversing the area that we live in Southern California on one of those early mornings, trying to get the necessities that we need. One of the places she stopped at, or stood in line at, I should say, was Target, that opened up at 8 o'clock in the morning. Of course, she got there a lot earlier and stood in line. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is because I'm in a high risk category, so I don't get to go out that much. When I do, it looks like a whole new world to me. But for her, and she's a hero, because she goes out there and does the things that are necessary for her family. And she's always done and lived her life with the highest sense of ethics and respect for her fellow human beings. But anyway, back to Target. Um, she went to Target, and there was a lady outside, and there was a single file line with people keeping, what do you call that? The 6 foot distance. I forget the name of it. But anyway, their personal space, you had to be 6 feet away, and they had their shopping carts. And they were waiting for the doors to open. And they had the people, once again in single file line, reminding them to stay 6 feet apart. Then what they did was they opened up the doors, and I'm trying to best, tell this in translation how I heard it from my wife. They opened up the doors but did not allow the patrons to go running in nilly-willy all over the store, looking for the things that they might need, and then causing conflicts and fights and personal space being invaded like crazy. So what they did was they formed a Disneyland-like line that you would be going on you would be in to be going on one of the more popular rides at, let's say, Disneyland or Disney World. And that line would go through the store, and as it went through the store, the lady would point out, okay, this aisle has this aisle has that, this aisle has this aisle has that. So she pointed out where all the so-called necessities were, or what people might be looking for. But people kept their distance, remained in that single file line, and did not leave it as they passed the different areas. So essentially what happens is you avoid chaos, you avoid people getting in fights, like I recently heard about 2 or 3 people dying over toilet paper. I mean, what are we coming to? And you go through the store, And you may or may not get what you need, but what's going to happen is there's going to be a sense of civility and organization, and all of a sudden respect for each other will grow. Then, as people um, were going through the line, as they came up to an individual cashier, here was the same lady directing people into certain lines um, at the front of the store. And she would ask people occasionally in line, did you get everything you need? For instance, she asked my wife if she got everything she needed, and I think, I forget what my wife forgot. It might have been a bottle of sanitizer or whatever. But she said, I didn't see this or that. And she got on the walkie-talkie and spoke to the back storage area of Target and said, do we have any such and such back there? If so, bring it forward to aisle number 3. And through the entire time, uh, this thing was so well organized that my wife was actually able to get the necessary paper products we needed, like a lot of the other people in line. And she came home almost excited to tell me about it because of how pleasant the experience was. Now, I don't know if this was a Target policy. I don't know who came up with the policy. I don't care. But I do know that this Tabitha lady is an unsung hero. She made sure people kept their personal space. She made sure no outbreaks happened. She asked people what they needed and showed them the aisles where they might be as they went around this line that snaked through the store. And then she would ask people in line, is there anything you missed? And they would tell her yes or no. But then she would guide people to other lines at the check stand where it was more appropriate for them to be, because they were just going to go up there to find out that they were out of certain things. And she also constantly kept the people informed that we're out of this or we're out of that or whatever the case may be. All I'm saying is that it was a process that was well thought out, well organized, kept people civil. Most people were able to get most of the things they needed, and it was an experience that provided a brief moment of happiness or contentment through this terrible ordeal that we're going through. So, Tabitha, I'd like to send you out my kudos. I'm going to be phoning your store and trying to get to your manager and let them know, let that person know exactly how well you did your job and exactly how much you were appreciated, and how we will, going forward, be making Target probably one of our number one stores that we go to, for certain things. It's that type of organization and heroism that you don't hear much about. But you deserve some recognition for it. So I'm going to, like I said, try and get you that. Can't guarantee I'll be successful, but I'm going to try it. And anyone else out there who has experienced this type of organization in the midst of this crisis, where they kept people's personal distance, they kept civility among terribly frightened citizens, and made it more possible to get people the things they needed. And when they didn't have something, they also made sure there wasn't some left over in the back room. And if there was, they brought it out to that person in line. So, from what I have heard about, and from the scenes I've seen on television, I have never seen a scene like that. What I've seen is people jumping over each other, people within 2 feet of each other. And I realize that in supermarkets and things like that, it's going to be hard to keep your personal space. But, right now, it might be worth taking the time for everyone out there to develop those type of procedures that organize people and keep them civil. And I know Kroger and some other supermarket chains are going to be putting up sneeze shields at the checkout stands, but there's still chaos in the aisles. So there wasn't at Target, and people came home feeling if there was anyone infected out there, they didn't get it, at least not there. So think about that, as opposed to thinking about, or think about that type of hero. And that type of hero is someone that is just your normal everyday person. Now I want to switch the subject real quick to a different type of hero, and I won't even call him a hero. I'll call him a cad. I'll call him a coward. I'll call him evil. I'll call him what he is, in my opinion. And it's not meant with any intent to do him any harm. But that was, I heard Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick of Texas on TV talking about the thrust of what he said. I can't say exactly, but I can tell you what the intention of his statement was. He was basically saying that it may be better to let certain people die, and I know in some cases there's no saving some people, but he made it sound a little bit beyond that it might be better to sacrifice lives rather than sacrifice our country. Well, our country consists of lives, and I'm sorry, from 70 to 7, or from 70 to 7 months, or from 90 to 9, or however old you are, or whatever condition you're in, let the medical people decide who they can't keep alive, and let them decide that, because they'll decide it for the not right reasons. Not sacrificing the country. And by sacrificing the country, what he meant is sacrificing the economy. Sounds to me like the gentleman didn't want to lose any money, like those 4 senators that happened to go to coronavirus briefings at the White House and then turn around with inside information and sell all their stock or most of their stock while we watched ours tumble. Anyway, this is John Burroughs signing off. I hope you recognize all the unsung heroes in your town and let them know, like you would let a service person know or someone in the armed forces, that we appreciate their service and their dedication to our country. John Burroughs signing off. Hope you listen. Thank you.